Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. We simply cannot allow people to forget. Some of the clips that we're going to play in this video, we've already played before. It doesn't matter that I'm playing the same clip for you guys again, because in my view, these clips need to be played over and over again on repeat, alongside the message all the way to Election Day. You know, Kamala Harris and the left-wing media simply shouldn't be able to just get away with this ridiculous astroturfing campaign. We've got to counter with the truth, and of course, when presenting the truth to the people, you gotta have one thing, and that's the frickin' receipts, and that's exactly what we've got. So we gotta play it on repeat straight till November. Kamala Harris is attempting a massive rebrand here. I mean, a total 180. All of a sudden, she's reborn a completely different politician. It's obviously a big fraud. It's not believable. This is who she really is. That's all I gotta say. We got some stuff to get into. I got some stuff to show you, so let's roll the tape. All right, so Kamala Harris does it again. She makes another move that exposes her as a massive hypocrite. Kamala Harris recently pitched to Nevada voters that she would support no taxation on tips for hospitality workers
and eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
Now, obviously, that campaign promise was totally plagiarized from the Trump camp.
Because when I get to office, we are going to not charge taxes on tips, people making tips.
So there's the plagiarism issue, of course, but that's not what we're talking about today. No, what we really want to focus on is the fact that now, all of a sudden, Kamala Harris is supporting a policy that would remove taxes on tips, but this comes not too long after Kamala Harris literally signed the tie-breaking vote to pass the Inflation Reduction Act, which implemented a plan to hire 87,000 new IRS workers with the intent of introducing a new service industry tip reporting program. In other words, Kamala Harris signed on to the bill to send IRS workers after service worker tips.
On this vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 50. The Senate being equally divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative, and the bill, as amended, is passed.
That was Kamala Harris showing up to the Senate to cast that tiebreaker vote, a bill that she was totally proud to sign. Again, we're focusing on the receipts here. This is from March 7th, 2024. Kamala Harris writes, "I was proud to cast the tie-breaking vote to pass our Inflation Reduction Act, which has capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors. Now Congress must pass a bill that extends that cap to all Americans." Now, firstly, don't even get me started on this whole insulin thing. And secondly, just keep harking on the exact same point. She frickin' signed the bill. Dated back roughly 2 years ago, back in 2022, IRS introduces new service industry tip reporting program. They just signed this bill, I feel like we were talking about this yesterday, which expanded the IRS and authorized the IRS to start monitoring all transactions. I believe it was above $600 on PayPal and other money transferring apps, and of course created a service worker taxation, registry or program that we could call it, which essentially, at least I'm assuming, would have created some sort of database, forcing companies to either have to direct most of their tips through that system, or maybe just a simple reporting system where you report the income, which of course just seems like a massive waste of taxpayer dollars. I don't know what exactly that would do, but anyways, the point is the intent was there. They wanted to come after small transactions, lower income people, and of course service workers. They wanted to come after your tips, and now of course in this desperate last minute pitch to get elected 3 months away from Election Day, it's obvious Kamala's willing to say whatever it takes to get votes. You know, Trump actually believes this policy. He will implement it and do it honestly. Democrats just want to scam you into voting for them. It's the same thing they did in 2022, the same thing they did in 2020. Vote for us and we'll give you extra stimulus checks. Vote for us and we'll forgive your student loan. Vote for us and we'll give you free healthcare. But it's either an empty promise that they don't make good on, or it's a promise that they deliver on, but the end result has unintended consequences, in some cases intended consequences, and of course it doesn't end up being all that it was promised to be. You know, again, with these Kamala Harris videos, I'm sounding a little bit like a broken record, but it just needs to be said, over and over again so people understand and so the message is spread. But the question I keep asking is, how can anybody in good faith support a candidate so dishonest? You know, just speaking of the Medicare for All thing, this was heard not too long ago.
And I am proud to co-sponsor it. It is about saying that this is about a right, not about a privilege for a few. And let's be clear, it is not only about what is the right thing to do morally and ethically. It's also smart in terms of the fiscal impact. Taxpayers will benefit. You know, our friends in the private sector, they talk about all the time. If they're asking about, are they being efficient? Are they being effective? They ask that question with 3 letters. What is the ROI? Return on the investment.
And now all of a sudden, the Kamala Harris campaign is telling us that they don't support Medicare for all. Well, which one is it? So many of these issues, we've seen total 180s. Kamala Harris initially supported a ban on fracking.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah, and starting with what we can do on day one around public lands, right? And then there has to be legislation. But yes, and this is something I've taken on in California. I have a history of working on this issue. And to your point, we have to just acknowledge that the residual impact of fracking is enormous in terms of the impact on the health and safety of communities.
Now apparently she doesn't. She supported not only universal health care, but free health care for illegal migrants as well.
Must be addressed.
The bill also says, quote, every individual who is a resident of the United States is entitled to benefits for health care services under this act. Not every individual who's a citizen, but every individual who's a resident. So you support giving universal health care, Medicare for all, to people who are in this country illegally?
Let me just be very clear about this. I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being from access to public safety, public education, or public health, period.
Now she doesn't. She's been an open border Democrat, but now apparently she's not. She's a staunch border security advocate. She used to support bail reform and soft on crime policies.
I am proposing that we reform America's bail system, the money bail system, and get rid of money bail. Because I know that people are sitting in jail every day in America.
So then if you're for overhauling, where do you stand on defund the police?
Look, right. So here's the thing. Defund the police. The issue behind it is that we need to reimagine how we are creating safety. And when you have many cities that have 1/3 of their entire city budget focused on policing, we know that is not the smart way and the best way or the right way to achieve safety. For too long, the status quo thinking has been, you get more safety by putting more cops on the street. Well, that's wrong.
And now all of a sudden, she's had a change of heart. It's so completely ridiculous, and I come back right to the same question. How can anybody support such a dishonest candidate in good faith? All the things that now she supposedly doesn't represent, because they're bad policy or destructive for the nation, are all the things that she's been advocating for her entire political career. And a lot of the crises and issues that you're currently experiencing, well, you're experiencing those issues thanks to her, by her hand. The border crisis, the fact that cities now look like this. Yeah, that's literally Kamala Harris, the border czar's fault. Inflation. She was the tie-breaking vote on so many of these bills. Even the Inflation Reduction Act, which didn't reduce inflation, it just made it worse. She signed that frickin' bill, and that also happens to be the bill that expanded the IRS and mobilized them to go after the middle class and even the lower class. She signed that frickin' bill, and now she wants you to vote for her so she can fix the economy, fix inflation, lower your taxes. Yeah, this person.
So these are some of the ways, but we've got to increase the corporate tax rate. We also have to increase taxes for the top 1%. And that part of that is going to be about repealing that tax bill that they just passed. And also looking at estate taxes are going to have to go up.
Vote for Kamala Harris so she could, I guess, not do all the things that she's dedicated her entire political career towards advocating. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. You can't make it make sense. Kamala Harris is absolute trash. And that right there is putting it nicely. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.